Weirdos are out there. They're everywhere. These weirdos could be behind you right now as you're watching this video, or in front of you, like me. And since you clicked on this video, dear viewer, that means you like looking at freaks, don't ya? This is episode 4 of the Tanimura Files, and if you like this one, check out my previous episodes. Alright, well, it's too bad. I forgot my fighting style. Kamurocho, Sotenbori, Honolulu, your backyard, you name it, everywhere you go in the Like a Dragon series is a chance to encounter some serious weirdos roaming their own territory. Going through the plethora of sub-stories in this franchise is like going on a safari with mundane aspirations and the goofiest shit ever. These weirdos can make you laugh as much as they unexpectedly make you tear up too. That's the beauty of this franchise after all. Well, I've encountered some real freaks at my time, being in Tokyo PD. However, in the time since I've been off the radar, a lot of these weirdos have still been resurfacing while some have not. They've gone off the radar themselves. But nonetheless, these weirdos, these freaks, might be able to teach us something as they re-enter our memories, the sheer bravado of their musk and their own sense of justice, whatever that might be to them. So, as you can see behind me, I have some primary suspects, along with a bunch more we'll talk about today in this case file, episode 4 of the Tanimura Files. Now, first up is Saigo Daijiro. Brilliant idea, you gambling freak. Saigo is certainly a fascinating fella in terms of the combat training masters in this series, and that's saying something. If there's one thing I can say about Saigo up front, it's that his seemingly made-up stories about his battlefield experiences might as well be true now in 2025. In Pirate Yakuza, you legit fight a giant robot as Majima in the campaign. And if there are people role-playing as pirates these days and people capturing other freaks known as Sujibon, then I'm sure there's some truth to Saigo's wisdoms of warfare. There's my good buddy Akiyama, who's the star pupil of Saigo-san. Now, he would teach Akiyama many different ways how to survive through his suicidal training regimen, including running, shooting, and combat. Now, as for Saigo himself, he was a master of different fighting styles, including Southeast Asian kickboxing, Jeet Kune Do, and of course, a submachine gun. He definitely knows his own sort of gun fu style. Never fun to go up against unless you bring your own firepower, or your own infinite handcuffs, if you will. Now, Saigo also usually has his own entourage of his followers, his pupils, standing around him while he gives them his own words of wisdom. As for me, well, I remember coming across Saigo when he was telling his students about the power of reheating curry days after it was still edible. I wish I had some curry right now, damn it, but alas, I can't. It's not easy being a real Renaissance man. Now, Saigo would appear in both 2010 and 2012 to teach Akiyama, Notably, during his Sotenbori era, he staged his own assassination in front of Akiyama just to make his marketing video that much more dramatic. See what I mean? Saigo was doing weird internet shit back in 2012. I genuinely believe his weird battlefield stories. Then in 2016, Saigo would travel to Unamichi, where he's down to battle Kiryu as a mini-boss of sorts. He's still being a weirdo with talks of gambling his savings or something like that, but I like that he travels to different cities throughout his 3 appearances. Saigo may not be the only weird trainer in the series, since the likes of Sodachi and Leo are definitely fellow high points, but I will say that Saigo certainly is a freak beast of his own. And speaking of freaky beasts, let's talk about the guys who are the anti-clothing caliber. Patriarch Boss Gondwara and Mr. Libido. Now, you'd think that Boss Gondwara and Mr. Libido would be 2 sides of the same coin, but not quite. Sure, they both like to dress as almost naked individuals in their birthday suits, however, they follow different paths of life, although they both are involved and wrapped up in their own fetishes. If you've been in Kamurocho long enough, especially on Pink Street, you think you've seen everything. Well, let me tell you, you never see everything when you're in Kamurocho. There's always more to be seen right behind you, or in some weird musty alleyway. Nonetheless, Boss Gondwara and Mr. Libido are the kind of fellas that are technically harmless if you let them do their own thing. I remember whenever I had to get money for gambling, I would probably talk to individuals like those if they would help me get some intel on some civilians I need to look after. For Boss Gondwara, he loves to live his life as a literal baby roleplay, despite being a Yakuza clan boss. And for Mr. Libido, well, his entire existence is that of a walking plank. I see. So they're both pharaohs of pleasure. Sure, Mr. TDF, sure. Mr. Libido may just be the incarnation of RGG Studios going, sure, let's put this real guy in our video game. And you know what? Why the hell not? Let's watch him dance for an entire minute. Well, anyway, through the drain of intel of justice that I've heard about, it appears that Boss Gondwara is more noble than I give him credit for. Guess there's more to diaper-wearing men than meets the eye. I'd say so, because by 2024, Boss Gondwara turned out to be more of a noble Yakuza than the majority of quote-unquote normal Yakuza seen in the series. Well, let's back up first. Because he first met Lord Shrub Ichiballs in Yokohama during 2019. It was a revelation in of itself that the man's clan was still doing their shtick ever since 2006, which goes to show that Kiryu didn't try to diminish their kink or anything. He's not that kind of guy. Wow. What a sentence. Well, jump back to 2024 and he reunites with Ichiban in Honolulu, which is actually the perfect weather for these baby men weirdos to migrate to. If you played Infinite Wealth, do you know just how much juxtaposition there was in his substory? The moment I saw those self-driving baby carriages pull up like absolute gangsters, I was on the damn floor laughing my arse off. Then in a sudden turn that felt like I walked into a completely different substory, it turns out that the elderly man Ichiban saw earlier, demanding for snow cones, was actually trying to bring the magic of snow to his ill wife one last time. From then on, if you played it, then you know how it goes. So I'll just say this. Seeing Boss Gondwara and the baby men help an old man bring magic, winter magic that is, to his wife in Hawaii might just be the definition of a legendary Like a Dragon sub-story. Just don't think too much on how they got the snow in the first place.
Weirdos can certainly be strange. However, I'd liken them to be more kin to a spirit guiding you down the right path. And through the little adventures I've had in Kamuro, that's definitely the case. And for some of these weirdos, they do just that. Enter Mac Shinozaki, a man that mastered the power of revelations and is a nigh Olympic runner. Ah, Mac. I remember getting tidbits from him or texts on how he'd helped me find a spot to unlock the revelation. And ever since then, Mac, if you're watching, I hope you're doing well. But I still keep these vintage notebooks of mine where I write about my musings of justice and tranquility. And I even like to leave these little notebooks around Kamurocho, Yokohama, you name it, even Honolulu, for aspiring detectives or other law enforcement personnel wanting to learn about how they can deliver their own sense of justice. In fact, I'm gonna leave this one over here right now.
Oh, I was gonna say, did you get a haircut, Tanimura?
What do you mean, you washed up mutt? Mr. TDF, I didn't get a haircut.
Oh my god, alright. I didn't see anything. So, Mac is truly a different kind of weirdo, as he has helped several protagonists from the series unlock the hidden potential seen in everyday life by simple observations. I liken this approach to how martial arts practically started in the first place, or even all forms of combat, by sheer experimentation. If there's one thing you should take heart to heart about creativity in these trying times, it's that you don't have to hurt your brain by trying to make up some new idea from complete scratch. No. Instead, look around you and observe. People watch, like Mac has taught us. There's a concept known as bricolage, an art that I really admire, and it applies here to Mac's revelations. Now, bricolage is the art of taking things that already exist and reformatting them to fit a new context or perspective, therefore creating an idea. It's what I've practically done for this YouTube channel, Tiger Drop Films, and it's what you can do with all kinds of art. Whether it's painting, or writing, or music, you name it. It's a very human way of processing the things around you and drawing inspiration. And for Mac Shinozaki, that's his way of telling these characters to look around them and take these seemingly mundane situations that turn out to be weird and add the movements they witnessed to their own movesets. Or in the case of Yakuza 5's revelations, that also means unlocking new heavy attacks with weapons through repeated use. I'm still unlocking all those, by the way, but it's a lot of fun. Mac Shinozaki may come across as a very zany and larger-than-life guy, but he's the kind of thrill-seeker wanting the perfect shot. From Yakuza 3, 4, and 5, Mac tells these characters to make use of their phone's cameras to snap the perfect shot of a weird event and then reflect on it through a blog. I love going back and reading these characters' little remarks about the strange events they've just witnessed. It adds more life to all these districts in Japan beyond substories or even hostess quests. I even find it remarkable that Saejima was able to figure out how to use a 2012 flip phone in Yakuza 5. He sure came a long way from carving sculptures, huh?
Now then, Mr. TDF, let's round off this video with two more particular weirdos that I've heard recent updates about through the interwebs. After that, I'll wrap up this video with a revelation on the many weirdos seen throughout this lifetime.
I'd have to agree, Blue Jacket Man. Let's talk about Akari, the ultimate student, and Munan Suzuki, the reformed ex-cult leader. Akari is a devoted student to the Unibara Vocational School, apologies if I mispronounce that, where he takes pride in his now 250 plus certificates as of 2025. Somehow that weird vocational school minigame has appeared in 3 games now. I hope you feel old too. Anyway, Akari is certainly a weirdo, but one devoted to learning new concepts. For instance, he's back in Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, where he tells a certain Goro-chan that he's been taking the new pirate certification courses, because of course they have those now. I think it's hilarious that Akari sees Majima as an absolute freak. It's like weirdos are drawn to each other. When it comes to Akari as a character, he's both a hopeless romantic and a driven learner. He helps Ichiban and Majima by giving them special abilities to take during exams, abilities I wish I had during my academics. Just look at the way Akari dances. Isn't that a man you want to learn the depths of knowledge with? I know you do too. Now, while I haven't completed the vocational school minigame for Pirate Yakuza just yet, I have completed it for Yakuza 8, and I can tell ya, the story he got in Yakuza 8 is almost an acid trip. I'll just let it play out right here for ya in incoherent clips.
特に頭がいいし、頑張ってるので素敵だなって。ずっと目をつけていたんですが。
資格だったら僕の方が持ってるじゃないか。僕も頑張ってるよ。僕はダメなの？春日の裏切り者。あ、イカリ、ちょっと待って。
春日さん。
ロラちゃん、待って。気持ちは嬉しいけど、俺には好きな人が。
大丈夫。私。愛人検定1級の資格を持っていますので本命さんと両立可能です。
なんだそのライセンスは。
大海原へレッツダイブ。
はにゃー。プー、なんかすごい子だったな。人は見かけによらないもんだな。カスカー！ん？わ怒り！マジですまん！落ち着けって！な！許しまし！マシンガン決定取っておいてよかったよ！ててー！ライセンスなんてゴリゴリだ！
Then you have reoccurring weirdos you wouldn't have expected to get an entire conclusion across decades in the RPG universe, if you played Zero first. Enter Munan Suzuki, who was once a con man in 1988, running the Order of Munan Kohep Onast as their first guru. And well, thanks to Dead Rising, every time I hear the word guru, all I think about is Lifeseeker's banger Gone Guru. Take that for what you will. To Suzuki's behest, his cult scheme would be thwarted by Thrust, Master, Lord of the Night, Goro-chan, who Munacho'd all over the place. And he too Munacho'd on me. Now, while the Orders of New Disciples substory was probably just a comedic riff on things I'm sure happened in 1980s Japan, it actually ended up being such a memorable substory that someone at RGG decided to bring the cult back and Kiwami won, although that didn't have Suzuki himself in it. However, it was Yakuza 6 where Munan Suzuki himself would actually reappear, this time a much older man since it's almost been 30 years since Yakuza 0. This is the Sins of the Father sub-story, and one of my favorites in the entire series. It has such a nice message about how it's never too late to become a better person, and try to fix your own wrongdoings. Kiryu's ending quote for this sub-story sums up the whole message. It's a sub-story so good that you think it was enough closure for Munan Suzuki. However, it turns out there was a bit more to tell. Because after Yakuza 6, Suzuki would leave Unomichi and head to Yokohama. In fact, it was nice to see one of Kiryu's words of wisdom pay off in Yakuza 8, where we see Muna and Suzuki trying to teach people over the internet how not to fall for the fancy words of cults. It's so cool seeing a person get better. And the parting words that Kiryu gives Suzuki at the end references what Kiryu told him all the way back in 2016. Now, Yakuza 6 has some of my personal favorite substories ever, and I'm glad that Infinite Wealth gave Kiryu a sequel to at least 2 of those substories from that game, including the Unomichi one. It's strange events like that which show how much of an impact meeting random people can have on others and yourself. If there's one thing we can all learn from all these weirdos, it's that it's better to be alive and weird, because it allows us to see what's out there in the world. The world itself may be big, and yet it's also very small and homey once you stop and enjoy how strange things actually are around you. Isn't that just weird?
Ah, yes. Weirdos, weirdos, weirdos. There are plenty of them out there, everywhere. And wouldn't you know it, they're on their own quest for justice at times. But let me give a rundown of some notable examples I've heard from allies and the goddamn internet. Firstly, Curry Man. What a guy. Next, Poison Mitsuo. I heard he once taught Kiryu-san how to flex in his underwear. Once again, we're talking about men in underwear. And speaking of naked men, I heard that in Honolulu, there's a certain fellow helping law enforcement there track down a bunch of perverts out there trying to strip and do the Munacho hustle all over the streets and harassing innocents. Diabolical. Dr. Minamita. I remember him. He let us use his IF-8 machine to battle through our own memories. Incredible stuff. And I heard he's making good money off it now. And also, I want to highlight the legend I've heard from the bubble era, that being Miracle Johnson. Woohoo! He's such a dancer. And I gotta say, I've seen some of his music videos, and there was some young guy looked like Kiryu-san, I remember. Weird. Professor Okita. He has a giant Roomba machine that can make pancakes. I gotta say, we may be able to fly to the moon, may be able to travel to space, we have undersea exploration, and we have giant Roombas that can bake goods, but apparently we still can't fix my goddamn Wi-Fi. Bob, the Cloud Man. Yes. He would definitely give us some wonderful tools back in the day, but I heard he's really disappeared from the face of the earth. Maybe he's out there. There might be a bunch of them even. I remember he would chase us with a bunch of other clones of other clown clones throughout the streets of Munacho. I guess clowns always move in packs, but Bob, thank you for giving us all kinds of wonderful gear throughout the years, like this Boss Coffee. And well, I think that might wrap up all the weirdos for today's video. But there's always a plentiful amount of weirdos out there for us to discover, including you guys. And well, thank you for watching episode 4 of the Tanimura Files. Remember to drink your Boss Rainbow Blend Coffee, and stay tuned because I'll see you in the next one. Tanimura, out. And speaking of curry, I heard there's also a curry man still out there. Maybe he's dead, who knows. But if you really love curry, you can always come back to life. As for me, I love yellow curry. And green too.